Hello, Natasha.
Hello, Damien.
It's the Lowbrow Lowdown. Well, hello.
Hello.
Hello, listeners. I'm Damien.
I'm Natasha.
Welcome to episode 11 of the Lowbrow Lowdown. We're reading We're reading pandemic-themed literature.
So you don't have to.
And we've returned to alleged crime fiction.
Like it was marketed as crime, but we don't agree with that label.
It's like a thriller. It's like espionage.
It's very like industrial espionage, perhaps.
Yes. It is sort of edging into the world of Rocky Flintstone.
Yeah, but it's slightly incomprehensible. So
we'll get to that. Oh. Do you want to read out the Amazon blurb?
I'll read the Amazon blurb. Okay, so we're reading Coronavirus Murderous Attack by Michael Koglin. It's contagious, but it won't make you sick. I mean...
Where do we even start?
It absolutely
What does that mean?
But it does. They talk about a fatality rate consistently in this book.
It's not the last thing that's not going to make sense today.
It is not. Okay, the young chemist Lena works feverishly on a vaccine against the virus, together with her colleagues in a biotech company, and she has an affair with Stefan, her charming boss. When he ends... Oh,
no, it's just... No.
What were you going to say, Damien?
Is she working feverishly?
Absolutely not. I don't... Look, out of the many days of this story, we observe her working one of them.
And all she does is infect someone's office with coronavirus.
Yeah, she throws a hissy fit of monumental proportions after mopping a floor. Good Lord. Anyway, so after she has an affair with her charming boss, when he ends the relationship unexpectedly, Lena is so frustrated that she
Sorry, we just gave it away.
Spoiler alert. Lena is so frustrated that she contaminates his office with the virus. Then she has a change of heart and cleans everything thoroughly. But Stefan suddenly disappears and nobody knows what's happened. Did Lena infect him? Is her company behind all this? Do they want to hide a discovery? Feverishly, Lena... she was a feverish working.
Yeah.
Feverishly, Lena sets off on a search. The trail leads her to...
Sets off on a search?
The trail leads her to Schleswig-Holstein, Barcelona, Netherlands.
Did you Google how to pronounce?
Yes. I had to Google how to pronounce this because I just thought, I'm going to embarrass myself. I know I've embarrassed myself. Thanks, Steve.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. And suddenly she is hunted. And this is a line that doesn't make any sense to me out of all of the lines that don't make sense. The blurb ends with... I want to read it.
Do you want me to try and take it? Okay.
I need to cut out so much of this.
It's so stupid. It ends.
I'm so sorry.
It ends. This is ridiculous.
Why are we laughing so much? It's really hot in here.
It is. It ends. Oh my god.
Baby.
It's not even that. We're delirious.
There's no other explanation. You're gonna have to. You actually are gonna have to cut out heaps of things.
This will be the X. It ends with breathless through the twilight. not even that funny. It needs to be said.
All right, I think we need to take a little break.
So after that brief interval where we had to take a break, I'll go back slightly.
I can probably give it a go now.
Oh, yeah? Yep.
Yeah, all right. So the blurb ends with breathless through the twilight on Earth.
But because they will have lost context. So trail leads her to Schleswig-Holstein, Barcelona, and then the Netherlands, and suddenly she is hunted, breathless through the twilight on Earth.
It just doesn't make sense.
It's like some kind of Mad Libs. In his defense, it is a more compelling blurb than last week.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it certainly got a reaction out of Damien and I. So this book has been written, was originally written in German, has been translated. So we're going to be a little bit more generous than we might normally have been.
Yeah, there's things in on two fronts. One in like things that have kind of lost their kind of flow in the translation, but German is a language constructed differently to English, and so sometimes the syntax and the kind of style or the way that things are put together,
articles are different, the way they're applied to within sentences, and
so like we've got to kind of moderate any kind of assessment of writing with that in mind. Yep.
That said, there are some bonkers lines.
But
it's more about plot and delivery than language.
Yeah. I think there's potential in the premise of like in this kind of industrial espionage thing, but also the kind of towards the end of the book, going to the end at the beginning. But so like the premise is that she, in trying to poison her boss or like infect her boss with coronavirus after he dumped her and then deciding to clean it up, inexplicably, she then adds her homemade face cream to the nutrient solution which the coronavirus is contained within. It's
very odd. Like she deliberately contaminates this sample of coronavirus serum that she had used to contaminate her boss's office or ex-lover's office, because it was in a fit of frustration and despair after being dumped. But then we don't know why she. It's never made clear why she deliberately contaminates that particular sample.
And there's such a process behind, like, she's like adds her homemade face cream in, and then she puts an X on it so no one will use the sample, and it. Like, is it just that there's some missing and she was topping it up, or maybe?
I mean, that's kind of how I read it, but it really wasn't clear, and I wish it was clearer because I mean, it just left me in a state of bafflement the whole time I was reading this book. It's like I don't get what is happening.
Well, and it kind of wasn't brought up again for ages. Like,
no, it wasn't brought up until kind of the end,
which is a kind of from a thriller kind of perspective, that's a thing that you can do where you're kind of like this thing that seems really inconsequential then turns out to be quite consequential, except it was so weird that it really stood out.
Yes. It was a very important point of the book, but it was
really laboured. It went on for ages.
Yes.
It's like, oh yes, she's putting her face cream in here. It's the face cream that she formulated herself to stop her from getting pimples and protect her from face blemishes. And you're like, what's going on?
Look, we've all got masked knees, so I would like to know what this face cream is.
Yes. This magical face cream. Spoiler, also cures COVID, but can't be patented because it was just one of the natural ingredients. And this is where all of the industrial espionage comes in.
I think that's the point at which she becomes the target of whoever is behind this industrial espionage. I think that's why she's the target, because but who knows that she did it? I don't.
So, but this is the big challenge, is that the kind of inciting incident to her being pursued but also trying to find the answers is so weak. Her boss, after dumping her, disappears. And Then his daughter calls her and she's in quarantine in Barcelona in a hotel. She's like 14 and she's running out of insulin. And
apparently no one can get it for her in this very populated city.
where she's in quarantine. Like,
so where her medical needs should be met.
Yes.
Like, what the fuck? It was...
Instead of telling anyone, she's like, well, I have to take this on myself.
Like, she didn't even seem to tell her mum. Like,
the daughter's mum.
Yeah. Her lover's wife.
Yeah. She goes to see her. And it just, what I think it's missing is the sister act kind of Dolores witnessing them killing someone and realizing that she's not safe. Like, there is at this point no reason why she wouldn't just go to Alexander, the boss above her boss.
Oh yeah, okay.
I think that's what he was.
I don't know.
And say, hey, he's disappeared. His daughter's just called me and said, I have no insulin. I'm in quarantine in Barcelona.
It just doesn't make sense, does it? No.
What's going on? Can you ring his wife and say, hey, you got to take care of your daughter? It's not my job.
She has to make these weird phone calls to HR saying, I've got an urgent lab matter I need to talk to Stefan about. Can you give me his phone number or address or something?
Like she didn't have it already. Like she was having an affair with him.
She was having an affair with him. No, but she did have it because later she goes to his house because she remembered him talking about his street and house number in passing. And it was like, what the fuck? just mentioned it.
For the record, Natasha has texted me the address where she lives and I have to look it up every time.
Can you just save it to my contacts, please?
Like scroll through the message going, oh, fuck, I forgot it again.
No, I'd do the same thing.
There wasn't enough of a reason for her to be like, I'm Jason Bourne now and I have to like...
No. It was extremely implausible and I don't think her character's assignation as a target, it just didn't make sense.
Well, and she only really became a target because
of this weird face cream addition to the coronavirus.
Well, also that she was like going to Stefan's holiday house by the lake and then his mobile phone had been left on a table, so she hit redial and it was a travel agency just like, tell me where he's booked a flight to.
Yeah. Oh, no, the line was, I did highlight that. It was like something like, can you tell me if a trip was booked from the person who rang from this number? It's like, what the hell? No. Travel agents are not that.
No.
They don't have tracing devices.
Like how the hell would they might have that system where it's connected to their computer and if you're a repeat customer your profile pops up straight away.
Yeah, perhaps.
I used to work in a call center. I remember that.
Okay, good. All right. Learn something new every day.
But yeah, it moved at this incredibly rapid pace.
Very fast. I feel like this only took place over this entire story took place over 2 or 3 days.
Maybe, yeah. In several countries.
And lots of train journeys.
Yeah.
Or bus journeys.
Bus journeys, who knows? It's this incredibly rapid pace, then with completely unnecessary detail. The bus journey, as an example, I used the onboard Wi-Fi to connect my laptop in order to then make a telephone call.
Which, because my telephone was connected to the Wi-Fi, it's like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah. And it was like, my telephone's still connected to the Wi-Fi. It's like, oh my God, yeah, okay, great.
Yeah. I was getting really angry at this book. It's like, am I just becoming such an impatient reader?
There was a lot of detail.
And maybe that's the,
Look, she tries to book a flight to America, and when she does the visa process, it's immediately denied.
Because I think look, this book was published in 2020, and I think I feel like it was published like May or June last year, so things were still relatively. Oh no, when was the travel ban to the US? Was the US kind of shut its borders the end of March or
Yeah, it's mentioned in here that the US shut its borders. Like in the story, the US shuts its borders to all of Europe, but is still
except
open
for
to the
Britain,
UK.
which is
I think
weirdly,
what happened, isn't it?
I think that's what happened. It really does echo what actually happened. And there's lots of discussion about, a lot of discussion about panic buying toilet paper. It's like, again, this unnecessary detail. It's like, we don't need to pad out books just for the sake of it. Just give me detail and
also
plot.
like you. Look, she can't get to the US, and she goes to Barcelona with some insulin that she bought in the UK, which she bought by flashing her "I'm a researcher" badge.
Yeah,
and they just sold her insulin without a prescription, which I think wouldn't happen.
Who knows? But pandemic, so anything's possible. Look, should I go through my little half paragraph of what I think the plot is?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm going to sit back. I'm excited because I still don't know.
Oh, no. This is no. There's going to be lots of them. All right. So Lena has an affair with Stefan, her boss, who demotes her to cleaning lady.
Oh, yeah.
In a fit of anger at being demoted to cleaning lady, she covers his desk with coronavirus. After covering his desk with coronavirus, she immediately regrets it and cleans it, from top to bottom, and tells us that she cleaned it with a steam cleaning jet thing.
Oh, yeah, so much detail.
So much detail about how she cleaned his desk.
I cleaned it with disinfectant, and then I used the steam cleaning thing. Yes. And I used high-powered hot steam.
Oh,
Jesus
my God.
Christ. Okay.
All right, we get it. You disinfected his office and puts the sample that she stole out of some shipment, but contaminates it with his face cream or whatever. Don't know, marks it with an X. And then Stefan disappears. And for some reason, this is where my notes just you can tell how shirty I'm. For some reason, she races all over Barcelona trying to find him, and he's followed by the organization's security firm, the biotech company that she works for. Then Stefan is killed in a car accident that mightn't be an accident. She finds a flash drive that he'd hidden in a beach watchtower and uploads a heap of coronavirus research to WikiLeaks. So it seems that Stefan's wife masterminded something. They were going to release the research and get rich or something. I don't know. And that's about where it ended for me. Because it's like I just lost interest.
It was really hard to follow. So Barcelona is a good example. So the purpose of going to Barcelona is to deliver insulin to this child
that contacted her,
which
in lieu of contacting her mother.
And like she breaks into the hotel quarantine by bribing a cleaner of some kind.
Yeah, laundry, I don't know. Gets
to the door, takes off her PPE to talk to this person and give her insulin. And it's like, well, if there's COVID in there, you've got COVID now. And then is chased around Barcelona by someone tries to hit her with a car. And so she gets on a bus, befriends a bunch of old
tourists.
Were they Belgian?
Yeah, they were Belgian, I think. Yeah.
And gets drunk with them, and it's just like,
because drinking this particular alcohol kills the coronavirus. And she's like, does it really? You're a
scientist. But then the book for like the rest of that chapter is like, and then we went to Sagrada Familia, and this was started in 1818, and Gaudi never finished it. It's still not finished, but it uses this style of architecture. It's about organic shapes. And then we go to Parguel, but also in Barcelona you can find some Bauhaus, and that's more industrial looking. And I'm like,
What's happening?
Why are we talking about this? What happened to the story? And then suddenly Stefan rings her. They're at Parguel, and she's drinking with these old people. And then her phone rings, and she has to run away and sit in
a park.
Yeah. And then she broke into Gaudi's apartment and slept, which is slept under the bed, which is. Like, it's a museum.
She wasn't homeless.
Yeah, but she was hiding from the people that wanted to kill her.
But she was also thinking, they must be tracking my phone. But she had her phone.
Yeah, so they were tracking it.
Although it was very precise. Look, there were some good tips. If you're ever thinking that you're going to be tracked by your phone, she sat down and she went through her contacts and copied out all of her important contacts so that in case she had to get rid of her phone, she'd have all the phone numbers she'd remember that she'd need. So, that's pretty sensible.
It's a good idea, yeah. Well, if we're ever being chased by a shadow organization because natural face cream is a cure to a pandemic.
And Big Pharma might be really upset about not being able to make money.
Big Pharma were the good guys.
Big Pharma were the good guys. I mean, obviously Big Pharma are the good guys because maybe.
Yeah, look, that's a complicated answer. There are no.
Sorry, I went there. I'm sorry.
There are no simple answers to things like that. Anyway, she stored her suitcase in a locker at the airport for the entire time she was in Barcelona.
Despite having a hotel room.
But she went back to retrieve it and found a tracking device. And so she threw the tracking device in a bus that was going somewhere. And then she got on a different bus. And that's where we had the discussion of all the ways the Wi-Fi was connected to all of her devices. She logged into her email intranet and she hadn't been locked out yet. So clearly her organization was like, oh my God. I can't even remember.
She ended up in Paris. She fell asleep on the bus. I mean, that was very interesting to read about.
Was she in Paris?
She went to Paris.
When did that happen?
That was the bus trip from
Barcelona to Paris.
To Paris.
And then did she have to get from Paris to Germany?
Yeah. I'm going to say yes, she did. I don't know how she got there.
I assume that's where she found out Stefan was dead. I must have missed that she was in Paris.
No, it wasn't very long part of the book. But she was in Paris. I've literally finished reading this an hour ago. I've already forgotten.
It was really hard to follow.
It was so hard to follow, Damien.
The thing about this isn't lost in translation. The plot is just
lost.
There is no plot.
No, it's just a random series of things that you'd think might happen in a thriller of some kind, just jumbled together.
Yeah. It's like there's no real thread. It's almost as if it's that thing. You know how when you're watching a thriller or reading a thriller, there are points where you're just like, I just don't know who to trust. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, no, I got none of that.
Well, I think.
Although I did get a bit of a surprise at the end with the mastermind.
Oh,
the
yeah.
wife. I did not see that coming.
I didn't either. But also I didn't see what the motivation was.
No, none whatsoever.
Even though
I still
he
don't know
cheated
why.
on her.
No.
I don't know.
I mean, that's.
I feel like there needs to be more than just cheating. Like the wife already has to have motivations to be rich and powerful and evil.
Because it doesn't come out of nowhere. She's not a wife at home who suddenly turns into a criminal hench person. I don't understand.
Yeah. Stefan dies in a car crash, which she insists on being sent a picture of so that she can know it's real. And they send it to her.
It's like, and that actually happens. It's like, that was very implausible. I feel like
they'd say no.
Because apparently his boss demanded to see proof that he had died. So the police in wherever he's in Amsterdam, where his car accident was, had sent photos. It's like, that's very unethical to be sending photos of car accident and dead bodies to anyone. Yeah.
And then she goes to the beachside town and starts interrogating hotel owners until there was a conversation with his daughter at one point.
That's right. Yeah. She interrogated his daughter who was grieving. What was your last conversation with your father?
What did he say? What did he say then? What was he looking at?
And he made some very obscure reference to beach watchtowers because they'd had a sexy moment in a beach watchtower when they were having their affair, days ago? I don't know. And he'd made a reference to his daughter because he kept saying to his daughter, "I'm by the sea, I can hear the sea," and he included a code that only Lena would understand, and she understood it and went to this town, found the watchtower, and this tiny USB slipped between the cracks of, oh my God.
Of like rotten wooden floorboards. Yeah. And just while she was in the watchtower, plugged it in.
No, she was on the beach on a sun lounge, and it was cold, so she had a blanket or something. Oh no, she was wearing a blanket while on the sun lounge because the outside heaters were on. And it's like, look, as an Australian, what the fuck? Who would go to the beach with the outside heater on? Just don't go to the beach or wear a jumper. You don't have to pretend to be warm in summer. Jesus Christ. And that's where she plugged it in and uploaded everything to WikiLeaks.
Yes. And then she tweeted it out.
Yes.
But also, she was she having conversations with someone in the organization saying, "Is it okay if I share this?"
Yeah, she was. They
were like, "Yeah, we can't patent a naturally occurring product."
Oh my God, I'm pretty sure they can.
I mean, they patent
like.
corn. So.
Yeah, they don't. Look, you probably can't.
So anyway,
natural occurring products, but you can probably patent what you make using that combination.
You would think.
Look,
and I guess importantly, it's like there was nothing wrong ever at this point because she's like, "Oh, the organization was fine for me to release all of this information." Oh,
So what was the chase around Europe all about?
From the security guy who's no longer coming into work and works for an external, like, recruitment agent. Like, he's like a temp. Their head of security is a temp. Okay. So yeah, their head of security who is a temp. He didn't show up, so they just sent a different temp in his place as head of security. Yeah,
and he's so obviously a head of security because she recognized him because of this snake tattoo on his neck.
Look, nothing wrong with anyone who has tattoos. However,
as someone quite tattooed, yes.
But like, I feel like a neck tattoo in a big conservative pharmaceutical organization would stand out.
Yes.
Like, I've worked in places where they're like no visible tattoos, and this feels like one of those places.
Yeah, I have in the past as well. So, So I don't know. I look, and in the end,
she packs up all Stefan's stuff, takes it to his wife, and is accosted by the now former head of security because he didn't show up and his replacement came in.
And his wife, who is
Stefan's wife,
who is wearing a long silky dress and drinking an amber drink with ice cubes in a glass. It's like, so just
like whiskey,
but the stereotypical or archetypical bad guy, supervillain in a suburban house, like a day after her husband been killed in a car accident.
I think my favorite part is when all of like I've forgotten what the head of security's name is, but Klaus. He's leaning over her and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you," and all of the red dots started appearing on his chest. I was like, "Yeah, of course I did." And the police were using her as bait.
Yeah, okay.
Which again would never happen.
Yeah, it's so ethical. The ethics on show here. Although we don't know we don't know what was going on. So,
then her and Alexander
went on a holiday because they're really burnt out.
Yeah, and he made her head of the department to replace Stefan. And
after admitting that he also was in love with Stefan but could never have him.
It was such a pointless plot point. Was it meant to make us trust him? Oh, he's trustworthy because he is also in love with the guy that was murdered.
Maybe.
And then she admitted that the reason that he found the secret formula was because she tried to infect him and then decided not to. And
yeah, she had to confess this weird thing.
And they continued their summer holiday. It was in the Maldives, something like that.
But that's the bit that really bugs me is that she'd somehow found this life-saving formula by accident, by contaminating a coronavirus sample. But she'd already been demoted to cleaner because Stefan wanted to protect her from some sort of industrial espionage.
Although was it that the higher-ups had found out they were dating and he was trying to protect her?
No, I think it was to do with
it was so
very confusing. Yeah. it happened very fast. Too much unnecessary detail, and not enough.
No idea what was going on.
No idea. What was going on.
I spent the whole thing with this sort of bemused look on my face as I tried to work out, where are we now? Yeah. What's she doing? Why are they there?
I'm just going to go back to that line, breathless through the twilight on Earth. Still, having read the book, that still makes no sense. What has that got to do?
No sense at all. Is it like some kind of German saying that has been maybe not translated? Look, I reckon that's it more than anything else. I'm Googling it. Breathless through the twilight on Earth. German. No.
Okay, nothing came up. I mean, I had Googled quite a few things. Like I Googled they make reference. She makes reference to an island off the coast of Germany that is actually called Reims. I'm not sure if that's pronounced correctly. It's an island off the coast of Germany, and it's home to the oldest virological research institute. I don't know. Oh yeah, they talk about, that I absolutely hated that elbow bump that people do. It's the non-contact handshake.
Yeah.
Apparently that's
it's an Ebola thing.
It's an Ebola thing.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I remember really early on they talked about it.
Yeah.
And it coming from
the Ebola
practices.
greeting.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, yes, the Ebola greeting through avian flu, and other SARS outbreaks. It's not uncommon. I had no idea.
I have an excerpt to read.
Oh.
This is my sort of example of the completely unnecessary detail. So this is almost immediately after someone tries to hit her with a car and she sort of escapes to somewhere around the Rambla or something like that. And she's stopped at a cafe for a cocoa.
Oh, Christ. Look, as someone who doesn't drink coffee, I'm off. Oh, that would be me. Would I like a hot chocolate, please?
Sitting outside on the street where a car might run you down. So that's just happened, and this is what the book decides to tell us. Beyond the next rows of houses, the towers of Sagrada Familia rose awe-inspiringly over the roofs. Lena realised that this incredible piece of architecture made people feel safe. The world could be a dangerous place. Wars broke out, political conditions were turned upside down, and coups or elections, and now a pandemic, had a tight grip on everybody's life. Still, the finalisation of Sagrada Familia went on. The church's facades, with mystical caves and entrances, colourful illuminations and enigmatic windows, had reminded Lena of the fantasy world of her childhood. At that time, giants, dwarves, hobbits and fire dragons had inhabited such buildings. She wondered why so few town planners in Hamburg had conjured a little more colour and organic design into the city's steel and glass facades. The Hafen City, Europe's largest inner-city development project, was a recent example of a rational yet sustainable futuristic style. It stood in great contrast with the nearby historic warehouse district. What is going on? Someone just tried to hit you with a car.
Yeah.
What are you doing? No one's tried to murder me before. Maybe if someone tried to murder me, I'd just be sitting outside the state library going, the state library?
It's an incredibly important example of Victorian architecture.
It was the first art gallery and art school to be in one house in one place.
The National Gallery of Victoria was started at the State Library. Anyway. Well, my excerpt was more about her... she's... Oh, I can't remember whether she's... Oh, no, she's in his office. She's trying to look for clues as to where he's gone. And so she's rifling through his drawers, keys, pens, batteries, and photos. Lena leafed through them. The Seidler family in a camper on their way to a vacation. The pictures showed a lakeshore surrounded by high grass and trees and a weekend cottage, which had to be located at some lake in Schleswig Holstein. Oh, I have embarrassed myself.
Oh, my German's terrible. I've been trying to learn it for years.
Schleswig Holstein. She could deduce that from the flat landscape and the license plates. Oh, good deduction. Fuck's sake. Yes, the state license plates would tell you that that's the state that this lake is located. All this gave her a sting. How could she think that they would have a future together, that she could experience something like family happiness with him? That kind of thing only happened to others. Certainly not to intelligent, independent women who were focusing on their career and had put up an invisible wall around them so that nothing or no one could interfere, especially not all those teenage feelings that went along with being in love. Saying,
is every woman who has a child right now going, well, fuck me then? Like, sorry. Because, like, to have a family, you've got to be really dumb.
Just outrageous.
Oh, God.
Binary, isn't it? It's that you're a family or you're a strong, independent woman. She talks about, this author posits that single women live in really sparsely furnished apartments and drink a bottle of wine every night.
There is a point where he talks about her apartment and the large winged chair that is the only thing she has that exists that isn't there. Yeah, but also that doesn't have he said it doesn't have a function. I'm like, it does have a function. It's a chair. Like, it's the only thing she purchased because it was beautiful. But he's like, this is the only thing that doesn't have a function. It exists only for beauty. It's like, no, it's the only thing she purchased because it was beautiful, but it still has a function. Yeah, yeah.
And if he's so obsessed with Bauhaus, he'd know that those two things absolutely can work together, function and form.
It's the whole point of it.
It's the whole fucking point of it. But as a single, independent career woman, according to this book, my home is homely. Damien is here. He can attest to that.
It's very lovely.
I've got more than one beautiful object, as well as functional objects. Like, fuck's sake. Anyway, so that's I pulled that up because I just thought, yeah. She's a home wrecker. That's a terrible phrase. Fuck. Stefan had agency.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And it very much felt like he was... she talks about how it all started, and he talked about how he could never sleep with his teddy bear and then said, do you want to see it? And I mean, like that's code for penis.
Yeah, absolutely. It's code for penis. It's like, do you want to come and see my etchings? I literally have etchings I could show people, but it's probably not what I'd be meaning were I to say that.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, so out of 5 face masks, what do you give this, Damien?
Wasn't the worst thing we've read.
No. It was probably one of the most boring things.
It was boring. It's kind of like a 2.5 because it it was fine.
It was fine. It was fine. The writing was fine. Just a lack of, the pace was too, like, it was dizzyingly terrible.
It was pace. The pace was incredibly fast, but there was no tension, no drama, no. Like, I think he was just like, oh, she's having an affair, drama. People want to kill her, drama. And I'm like, but why?
But why do they want to kill her?
Why is anything happening right now?
No, it does. There's so much that doesn't make sense. And just one thing to explain what the chasing was all about would be extremely helpful.
I just think if he did only one thing to this, if he made it that she saw, I mean, Alexander, why does he have to be a good guy? She saw Alexander shoot someone in the head as she was going to tell him, hey, what's going on? Stefan's daughter just called me.
Yeah.
That would be a reason enough to kind of go, oh, I've got to like go out and solve this myself. I can't trust anyone. I just saw no reason that she shouldn't trust anyone.
No, she could have been working with Alexander all along and it would have been safer for her.
She could have gotten him because as he showed, he had it in with the police and could get them to do anything. He could have just had the police sort the whole thing out.
Yeah, and I think maybe we need to have a look at the title of the book, Coronavirus Murderous Attack.
On Stefan?
Well, we're only assuming that Stefan was murdered.
Yeah, maybe he just crashed his car.
Maybe he's crashed his car. And, I mean, when we saw this, I thought, oh, no, there's going to be lots and lots of murders. There just wasn't.
No.
So I'm going to give it maybe 2 stars.
Yeah.
Grudgingly.
I'm 2.5.
Yeah.
It's not crime because, like, crime suggests that there is, the inciting incident is the crime happens and then the story is then driven to solve it.
Yeah.
And
what's the crime? What is actually
like
the crime?
someone disappeared, but that's not a crime. Like maybe he was kidnapped.
She was thinking, he wouldn't have gone to the Mediterranean because it's not sunny.
When's it not sunny in the Mediterranean?
And also, so what? You think he's actually just gone on holiday?
And abandoned his child and his wife, and who he just left you because he couldn't end things with them.
Oh my God. Anyway, so yeah, 2 stars. Tell us what you think.
You can email us at lowbrowlowdown@gmail.com or follow us at lowbrowlowdown on Twitter to share your thoughts. This, along with everything we've been reading, is part of the Kindle Unlimited thing. So we're just kind of like borrowing the books, and there's like some monthly fee. It's not much.
No.
And some of them, sometimes I read things that are good. I've been reading more than just this.
Oh, okay. By the authors we've been reading.
Yeah, I read another one of Matt Shaw's, and it was better. I can't remember which one it was. I'm not saying it was groundbreaking, but it was better than.
And you've read a few Chuck Tingles, haven't you?
Yeah, Chuck Tingle's always good. He's very funny.
And thankfully, those books are really short. So.
This one had like Chuck Tingle had a bonus at the end.
Oh, did it? I didn't even bother.
It was reading sample. Dinner for one on the Titanic.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Did you know that Melbourne has a Titanic theme restaurant?
I did not know that. What sort of theme is that? Hi, eat dinner.
The Titanic goes down. Yeah. There's like performances. It's dinner theatre. That sounds like it's witches in breeches.
Yeah. Theatre restaurants are
Titanic. Yeah, no, I've no desire to go there.
I did not know that. Maybe we should go to it.
I did not know. Someone was tweeting about it. I was like, is this real? And they'd like tweeted an article where someone went to it. It's in Williamstown.
Oh yeah, I suppose that makes sense.
When did the Titanic ever come near Australia?
It didn't.
So why?
No. Oh, this is... Oh!
Why did you just read? I haven't read it.
All right. So this book, Titanic for one, I'm just scrolling, flicking through my phone going, wonder what it's about. And my eye landed on a seagull circled over the bridge. She did 2 turns. Then James saw her defecating, screeching loudly. The white blob fell from the sky in a graceful arc.
Weird detail.
And
it's Gaudi's fucking architecture all over again.
And just so defecating.
I mean, that could be a translation as well.
Yeah, perhaps. Just very precise. All right. I think we're done.
What are we listening to next week? Or what are we listening to? What are we reading next
week? We're reading... Oh, look, I made a note. We don't know what we're reading next week.
Look, it has... I think we decided this one like on Friday, maybe on Saturday, and it's now like Tuesday.
Yeah. Look, there's short books, so we'll get to them. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks.
See you next week.
Take care. Enjoy being able to leave the house again if you're in Melbourne. It's
I know.
Great.
And what a glorious day it is today.
So nice.
Although it's a bit warm, so we'll... All right. See you later, Damien.
See you, Natasha.
Bye.